CNN's Brian Stelter did this multi-show interview with Glenn Beck, and from what I saw of it, it was a fluff piece. I mean, they basically mainstreamed his nonsensical worldview and his fringe channel, the Blaze TV. So let's listen to who Beck thinks he's like.
About the media magnate that he's modeling his company after. It's not Rush Limbaugh. It's not even Oprah Winfrey. Take a look at who it is. Didn't you give all of your staffers a copy of a Disney biography last year?
Yeah.
What was the reason for that?
You know, the company was named after Orson Welles, and the two people that really have influenced me is Orson Welles and Walt Disney. And I gave it to them because I wanted them to see where I was headed. And I'm not headed towards Edward R. Murrow. I'm headed towards Walt Disney.
Does that mean theme parks or something different?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't foresee
People sometimes only associate Disney with that when it's a lot more.
Yeah, no. Disney was an innovator on everything. I mean, we went to space because of Walt Disney.
Shame on CNN. Shame on CNN. I would say shame on Glenn Beck, but he's too fucking stupid and irrelevant for me to say such a thing. But you are taking this guy who has no viewers, and you're giving him this massive multi-piece interview where they talk about, oh, I think I'm like Walt Disney. I'm so special. I'm a great innovator. Oh my God, my business is the best in the world. He took us to the moon. I'm going to take us to Mercury. Okay, it's called fact-checking, Brian Stelter. How many times have we discussed this on the show? And unfortunately, I think we are the only network talking about it. Maybe the main show at the Young Turks also may have spoken about it, but Politico had a fantastic article a few months ago, and Media Matters also has written about this. The entire Glenn Beck network is a fraud. It is a fraud. Nobody watches them. Nobody watches them. You have to understand something, guys. This isn't just my opinion. This is a fact, okay? Did you know that SecularTalk, okay, so this YouTube channel, one dude and a fucking microphone and a camera, okay, we double the subscribers and the views of Glenn Beck and the Blaze on YouTube. Double them. Where's my multi-piece interview on CNN? Where's my fluff job interview? Why can't I go out there and tell people, oh, I want to be like Ted Turner, man. I want to be the next CNN of the internet news. He gets the interview, but we don't get the interview. And look, fuck, this got nothing to do with me. Forget me. Put me aside. I'm being tongue-in-cheek when I reference myself in this conversation. Although it is true, I doubled the subscribers and the views of Glenn Beck on YouTube. How about the Young Turks, the main channel, and Jank? They're a billion-plus view sensation. They're nearing 2 million subscribers talking about politics on YouTube. Blows out of the water every other news source, especially online, but they're even beating CNN now. They're actually beating CNN in the ratings. Their weekly numbers, their daily numbers, their monthly numbers, they're wiping the floor with them. Where's Jank's multi-part interview? Where is it? What's happening here? Why can't he go on there and say, I want to be like Walt Disney, but Glenn Beck is going to talk about this? Understand something, man. Again, this isn't opinion that Glenn Beck is irrelevant, okay? Did you know, and this was spoken about ad nauseum in that Politico piece, they don't make hardly any of their money from advertising. They can't stay on the air. If they were actually in the free market, they would be off the air immediately, today. Because the advertisers don't give a shit about them because they don't like them and they don't have good ratings. So if you watch Glenn Beck's channel, all it is advertisements for survival seeds and gold coins and the Liberty Safe and all types of fringe nonsense companies that pay very little in advertising fees. So how are they on the air? How do they stay on the air? It's called right-wing think tanks. They are welfare queens. FreedomWorks subsidizes them, okay? That's just one of them. There are many right-wing think tanks that subsidize not just Glenn Beck, but also Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh. Their empires are a fraud. Their empires are a fraud. There were reports a few months ago that Glenn Beck was afraid that the right-wing think tanks are going to pull the plug on funding for his show. And after that, he says, look, we're done when that happens, because that's where they get all of their money from. And understand something, they're going to pull the plug soon, because it's the right-wing think tanks. They thought they were going to get a profit because remember, there's this whole image that's been built of Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh. Oh, media empire, they're so much bigger than liberal media. Not true at all. We have the Google verified numbers to show you on the internet. They have bupkis. They have horrible ratings. Media Matters had an article recently. Rush Limbaugh is getting crushed by college radio stations in America's biggest markets. College radio stations only have a signal that it's very tiny how far the signal goes out. College radio is beating Rush Limbaugh. Nobody is listening to Rush Limbaugh. Understand something, all the right-wing, media figures, their empires are all a fraud. They switched over recently from diaries, which is how they kept the ratings numbers. They would just send it out in the mail and say, when do you listen to the radio? Write it in. People would notoriously not fill it out accurately. They fill it out at the end of the month, and just send it in, and they made up who they listened to by who had the most name recognition. Well, now they switched to people meters, which actually goes, it's a fairly good way to measure, where it actually goes by people within a certain area around a radio station, and they could track via GPS. Guess what? Nobody's listening to Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck's channel is a joke. It's a joke. You have to understand, man, according to the Politico article, Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh didn't even make enough money to cover the broker fee who set up the deal between them and FreedomWorks and them and the other right-wing think tanks. And they had given them millions of dollars, so all those millions are lost, and they couldn't even pay back the broker fee. It's a giant fraud, man. It's a giant fraud. Look, again, don't take my word for it. Go look at the Blaze on YouTube yourself. See how many subscribers they have. 22,000 thereabouts, right? SecularTalk has 47,000 already. Okay, one dude with a microphone. He's got an entire network. He's got people on the payroll. He's renting his fucking gigantic studio for X amount of money a month, and he's out there on CNN saying, I'm the next Walt Disney. No, motherfucker, what you are next is unemployed. That's what you are. Ain't no goddamn Walt Disney. You're going to be unemployed. And also, if you think, well, Kyle's going too far here, he's extrapolating too much. There was an article in Mediaite not too long ago where Glenn Beck says, I don't want to, quote, waste my life on politics. That's a white flag. That's him saying, yeah, when this all falls apart, I'm going to pretend like I chose for it to fall apart. And I'm going to pretend like I just made a different career choice. You wanted to make this the Blaze. It's going to be the next big thing in news. And then eventually, gonzo. And it will be lovely when it happens. And I think it's about fucking time. Forget me, because look, in terms of YouTube channels, I am tiny. I mean, there are fucking makeup channels that are gigantic, way beyond belief, way bigger than my comedy channels, science channels. So we really are tiny, but the Young Turks is gigantic. It's about fucking time that we get some recognition, because our numbers are provable, and we're not subsidized. We actually can make it in the free market. Whereas the Blaze, Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, they're welfare queens. They don't get any advertiser dollars. They're funded by right-wing think tanks, and their ratings suck. It's a house of cards, mark my words.